Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Shripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are also honoring what's called Sri Jagannath Mishra's Mahotsav. Jagannath Mishra is the for some reason the internet is very bad right now. Kastripnuya tirtha pado bidhanat satreshu vasurir idyamanat yakarna nadim purushasya yato bhava pradam geharatim chanati. Who in the human society can be satisfied without hearing sufficient talk of the Lord, whose lotus feet are the sum total of all places of pilgrimage, and who is worshipped by great sages and devotees? Such topics can cut off one's bondage to family affection simply by entering the holes of one's ears. Purport. Krishna Katha is so powerful that simply by entering into a person's ear, it can at once give deliverance from the bondage of family affection. Family affection is an illusory manifestation of the external energy, and it is only the only impetus for all mundane activities. As long as there is mundane activity and the mind is absorbed in such engagement, one has to undergo the repetition of birth and death in the current material nescience. People are most influenced by the mode of ignorance, and some are influenced by the passionate mode of material nature, and under the spell of these two modes, a living being is actuated by the material conception of life. The mundane qualities do not allow a living entity to understand his real position. The qualities of both ignorance and passion strongly bind one to the illusory bodily conception of the self. The best among the fools are thus deluded are those who engage in altruistic activities under the spell of material mode of passion. Bhagavad Gita, which is the direct Krishna Katha, gives humanity the elementary lesson that the body is perishable, and that the consciousness which is spread throughout the body is imperishable. The consciousness, being the imperishable self, is eternally existent and cannot be killed under any circumstances, even after the dissolution of the body. Anyone who misunderstands this perishable body to be the self and who works for it in the name of sociology, politics, philanthropy, altruism, nationalism, or internationalism under the false plea of the bodily conception of life, is certainly a fool and does not know the implications of reality and unreality. Some of them are above the modes of ignorance and passion and are situated in the mode of goodness, but mundane goodness is always contaminated by tinges of ignorance and passion. Mundane goodness can enlighten one that the body and the self are different, and one in goodness is concerned with the self and not the body. But due to being contaminated, those in mundane goodness cannot understand the real nature of the self as a person. Their impersonal conception of the self as distinct from the body keeps them in the mode of goodness within material nature. And unless they are attracted by Krishna Katha, they will never be liberated from the bondage of material existence. Krishna Katha is the only remedy for all people of the world because it can situate one in pure consciousness of the self and liberate one from material bondage. To preach Krishna Katha all over the world, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, is the greatest missionary activity, and all sensible men and women of the world may join in this great movement started by Lord Chaitanya. Text 12. Munir vivakshur bhagavad gunanam shakapi te bharatam aha Krishna yasmin nirnam gramya sukhanuvadayar matir grihita nuharer katayam. Your friend, the great sage Krishna Dvaipayan Vyasa, has already described the transcendental qualities of the Lord in his great work, the Mahabharata. But the whole idea is to draw the attention of the mass of people to Krishna Katha in Bhagavad Gita, which is a part of Mahabharata, through their strong affinity for hearing mundane topics. Purport. The great sage Krishna Dvaipayan Vyasa is the author of all Vedic literature, of which his works Vedanta Sutra, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Mahabharata are very popular readings. As stated in Bhagavatam 1.4.25, Srila Vyasadeva compiled the Mahabharata for the less intelligent class of men, who take more interest in mundane topics than in the philosophy of life. The Vedanta Sutra was compiled for persons already above the mundane topics and might already have tasted the bitterness of so-called happiness of mundane affairs. The first aphorism of Vedanta Sutra is Tato Brahma Jigyasa, i.e., only when one has finished the business of mundane inquiries in the marketplace of sense gratification can one make relevant inquiries regarding Brahman, the transcendence. Those persons who are busy with mundane inquiries which fill the newspapers and other such literatures are classified as Stri Sudra Dvija Bandhus, or women, the laborer class, and unworthy sons of the higher classes, Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya. Such less intelligent men cannot understand the purpose of Vedanta Sutra, although they may make a show of studying the sutras in a perverted way. The real purpose of Vedanta Sutra is explained by the author himself in Srimad Bhagavatam, and anyone trying to understand Vedanta Sutra without reference to Srimad Bhagavatam is certainly misguided. Such misguided persons who are interested in the mundane affairs of philanthropic and altruistic work under the misconception of the body as the self could better take advantage of Mahabharata, which was specifically compiled by Srila Vyasadeva for their benefit. The great author has compiled Mahabharata in such a way that the less intelligent class of men who are interested in mundane topics may read the Mahabharata with great relish, and in the course of such mundane happiness can also take advantage of Bhagavad Gita, the preliminary study of Srimad Bhagavatam or the Vedanta Sutra. Srila Vyasadeva has no interest in writing a history of mundane activities other than to give less intelligent persons a chance for transcendental realization through Bhagavad Gita. Vidura's reference to the Mahabharata indicates that he had heard of the Mahabharata from Vyasadeva, his real father, while he was away from home and was touring the places of pilgrimage. Text 13. Sashradhanasya vividhamana Sashradhanasya vivardamana Viraktim anyatra karoti pumsha Are padanusmriti nivratasya Samasta dukha pyayayam asudat. For one who is anxious to engage constantly in hearing such topics, Krishna Katha gradually increases his indifference toward all other things. Such constant remembrance of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna by the devotees who has achieved transcendental bliss vanquishes all his miseries without delay. Purport. We must certainly know that on the absolute plane, Krishna Katha and Krishna are one and the same. The Lord is the absolute truth, and therefore his name, form, qualities, etc., which are all understood to be Krishna Katha, are non-different from him. Bhagavad Gita, being spoken by the Lord, is as good as the Lord himself. When a sincere devotee reads Bhagavad Gita, this is as good as seeing the Lord face to face in his personal presence. But this is not so for the mundane wrangler. All the potencies of the Lord are there when one reads Bhagavad Gita, provided it is read in the way recommended in the Gita by the Lord himself. One cannot foolishly manufacture an interpretation of Bhagavad Gita and still bring about transcendental benefit. Anyone who tries to squeeze some artificial meaning or interpretation from Bhagavad Gita for an ulterior motive is not a Shraddhana Pumsa, one engaged anxiously in bona fide hearing of Krishna Katha. Such a person cannot derive any benefit from reading Bhagavad Gita, however great a scholar he may be in the estimation of laymen. The Shraddhana, or faithful devotee, can actually derive all benefits of Bhagavad Gita because by the omnipotency of the Lord, he achieves transcendental bliss, which vanquishes attachment and nullifies all concomitant material miseries. Only the devotee, by his factual experience, can understand the import of this verse spoken by Vidura. The pure devotee of the Lord enjoys life by constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord by hearing Krishna Katha. For such a devotee, there is no such thing as material existence, and the much advertised bliss of Brahmanda is like a fig for the devotee who is in the midst of the transcendental ocean of bliss. Text 14. Tanchocha sochyan avido nusoche are katayam vimukhan agena shinoti devo nimishastu yesham ayor vritavada gati smatinam. O sage, persons who, because of their sinful activities, are averse to the topics of transcendence and thus ignorant of the purpose of Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita, are pitied by the pitiable. I also pity them because I see how their duration of life is spoiled by eternal time while they involve themselves in presentations of philosophical speculation, theoretical ultimate goals of life, and different modes of ritual. Purport. According to the modes of material nature, there are three kinds of relationships between human beings and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are in the modes of ignorance and passion are averse to the existence of God, or else they formally accept the existence of God in the capacity of an order supplier. Above them are those who are in the mode of goodness. This second class of men believe the Supreme Brahman to be impersonal. They accept the cult of bhakti, in which hearing of Krishna Katha is the first item, as a means and not the end. Above them are those who are pure devotees. They are situated in the transcendental stage, above the mode of material goodness. Such persons are decidedly convinced that the name, form, fame, qualities, etc. of the personality of Godhead are non-different from one another on the absolute plane. For them, hearing the topics of Krishna is equal to meeting him face to face. According to this class of men, who are situated in pure devotional service to the Lord, the highest goal of human life is Purushartha, devotional service to the Lord, the real mission of life. The impersonalists, because they engage in mental speculation and have no faith in the personality of Godhead, have no business hearing the topics of Krishna. Such persons are pitiable for the first class pure devotees of the Lord. The pitiable impersonalists pity those who are influenced by the modes of ignorance and passion, but the pure devotees of the Lord take pity on them because Both waste their most valuable time in the human form of life to engage in false pursuits, namely sense enjoyment and mental speculative presentations of different theories and goals of life. Text 15. Tadasya kosharava sharmadatur hare katam eva katasu sharam udhritya pushpebhya ivartabando Sivaya na kirtaya tirtha kirte. O Maitreya, O friend of the distressed, the glories of the Supreme Lord can alone do good for people all over the world. Therefore, just as bees collect honey from flowers, kindly describe the essence of all topics, the topics of the Lord. Purport. There are many topics for different persons in different modes of material nature, but the essential topics are those in relationship with the Supreme Lord. Unfortunately, materially affected conditioned souls are all more or less averse to topics of the Supreme Lord, because some of them do not believe in the existence of God, and some of them believe only in the impersonal feature of the Lord. In both cases, there is nothing for them to say of God. Both the non-believers and the impersonalists deny the essence of all topics. Therefore, they engage in topics of relativity in various ways, either in sense gratification or mental speculation. For the pure devotees like Vidura, the topics of both mundaners and mental speculators are useless in all respects. Thus, Vidura requested Maitreya to talk of the essence only, the talks of Krishna, and nothing else. Thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 16 on Friday. Before we end, are there any comments or questions? No? Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Shripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to the acceptable devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees, Sama Bhakti Veda Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Nrishangapuri Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Dhruv Ki Jai. Ganga Mai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan Dham Ki Jai, Sham Kund Radhakund Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi, Bhakti Devi, Devi Ki Jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagi Ki Jai, Scientific Sankirtan Yagi Ki Jai. Princeton Bhakti Vedanta Institute Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math Ki Jai. Jai Sri Jagannath Mishra Maha Maha Mahotsav Ki Jai. Jai Srimati Uma Devi Dasi Ki Jai, Jai Bhaktalinga Ki Jai, Nitai Gora Premanandi, Hari 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 Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Sripad Krishna Kesha Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai Gurudev. Dhanavad Pranam.
Pranam.
Hare Krishna.